Hi, I'm Jen Rice, and this is the first of two videos where I'll be talking about the 5 mind modes, or forms of intelligence that I believe are so essential for leaders today. One of my favorite sayings lately is brain on a stick. It so perfectly encapsulates my 3 decades as a strategy consultant, rewarded for being smart, entirely in my head, completely disconnected from my body and my intuitions. Our business world does not reward us for much beyond our power of logical linear thinking. And I believe it's one of the biggest causes for what is slowing us down, making us stuck in our organizations and in our own lives. So I was burned out. I was exhausted and unhappy. And early 2019 saw me quit my job, sell everything I owned, get a one-way ticket to Europe, and with a carry-on and a camera, travel through 14 different countries until I landed here in Tbilisi, Republic of Georgia. Now, people ask me what I learned during this time, and I would say the most important thing I learned was not an insight, but rather a skill. It was the skill of navigating life like a bat. How do bats navigate? In the dark, blind. They turn on a light, consult a map, ask Siri. Now, as you know, they are nature's first sonar machines. They send out a ping, get a reply back. And it's a form of sensing. It's this yes or no kind of binary decision. But what they're capable of doing is not only defining what the walls are of the cave, that's easy. They can also sense the size, the direction, the speed of their prey, all by feeling. So the first time I really dropped in and decided to start using this, I was on the coast of Morocco in a little surf town called Essaouira. And I was maybe a month into my travels. And I hit analysis paralysis. I was spinning out in my head, making laundry lists of like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I think it was at that moment that it all hit me that I was homeless, I was jobless, I had no plan. Holy cow, what do I do now? And maybe you as a leader can relate to this with the pace of change and the uncertainty that we are all experiencing right now. So I decided to kind of set aside all of my research and just start checking in with my body. What does my body have to say? It's a form of intelligence or a form of intuition that doesn't rely on our brains. There's a form of intuition that is very brain-based. It assembles all of the data points from our past experience and gives us lightning-fast calculations in terms of what's next. What I'm talking about here is the yes and no of somatic wisdom, the wisdom of our body. If you are scientifically minded, you might say that this is how our 100 million neurons in our guts and our 40 million neurons in our heart center send us signals like the bat. It sends us these yes and no signals. So practice with me right now. Think of something that you know is a no for you. It is absolutely something that you would never do. It is not your thing. You might feel yourself contract. There's a tightness. You might feel your shoulders kind of roll in. There's a form of protection in there. Conversely, think of something or someone that lights you up, that brings you joy, that is your form of yes. Chances are you start standing taller, your shoulders roll back. You feel an expansiveness in your chest. This is your body's way of saying, yes, this is right. If you're spiritually bent, you might call this a soul level knowing. You know, maybe it's both. Maybe it's our gut and our soul. Who knows? All I know is it was so spot on, and when I listened to it, it is never wrong. I ended up starting to balance and orchestrate, and I call this the 5th mind mode, actually, is orchestration. Understanding what mode to use when. So I would do, through analyzing mind, make my lists, get some data points, and then I'd check in. What does my body have to say? And I started learning how to listen and not make a move until my body said go. So I learned patience. And finally, I ran across Tel Aviv, and everything in me said, go there. I didn't know why, but I went. It was amazing. I spent 3 months there. That form of yes then took me through the Baltics, where I was in a town called Nida on the coast of Lithuania, and I finally let go. I let go of the need to control, the need to have a plan. I let go of everything except for being. God, just relaxing into just being. How often do we give ourselves permission to do that? Took me through the Ukraine, where I was taking Russian lessons, took me into the Balkans, took me finally here to Tbilisi, Georgia, where it has been the safest place for me to ride out the coronavirus storm. So in this video, we've talked about analyzing mind versus sensing mind and when to use them. We've talked about orchestration, right? This idea of that metacognition of what tool in your toolbox to use. And in our next video, we'll talk about the last two mind modes, which are connecting and feeling. So important today. So stay tuned for more.